Hey there, I'm Cerise. Welcome to my channel. Well, here is some news that I read, and I wanted to share it with you guys because a lot of you guys ask me, Cerise, prostitution in the Dominican Republic, is it legal or is it just accepted? And some of you guys have even asked me about pimping and what that's all about. So I wanted to go through this article with you. It says Santo Domingo, that's the capital of the Dominican Republic. The second chamber of the Supreme Court established that Dominican legislation does not punish or sanction prostitution, but only those who exploit it and benefit from it. The jurisprudence establishes that there may be many causes or circumstances by which people who engage in pimping are compelled to appear before a trial. This is not a reason so that it cannot be demonstrated with other means of evidence if a person or a certain group of people or institution engages in pimping. So there we have it. Pimping is illegal. But prostitution is not illegal. And you know, folks, I get questioned quite a lot by couples that are coming down here. When they contact me to do consultations for relocation, one of the main questions from the wives is, are the women here pushy? Are the prostitutes pushy? Like, in other words, will a wife have to worry about her husband being coerced into getting with a prostitute? Now, I don't think a grown man can be coerced, to be honest with you, and that's a question that's asked to me quite often. And I always say to the wives, with the husbands on this in the session on the phone as well or in person, I always say, well, that's up to your husband, not really up to the prostitute. If your husband is into that type of, behavior, and if your husband is already that type of character before you get here, then chances are you're going to have a little bit of an issue with your husband. But if your husband is just, a really loyal dude and he's a loyal husband, really enjoys being with you, chances are that's not going to change. It's not like the man is going to get magically transformed when he comes here just because there are women walking around. Now, in regards to the prostitutes walking around, when I first got here, I didn't realize that they were prostitutes. I thought they were just young women on the way home from the gym, because most of the women, they wear flat shoes and tight shorts and crop tops, kind of looking like they're going to a gym. And you would think that, especially here on a beach, they would walk around with just bathing suits on, bikinis on, like a lot of thong bikinis, and that's not so. You'll probably see a lot more skin going to the beach in Toronto or maybe in America during the summertime, or even California on a boardwalk. A lot more skin there than you would hear from the prostitutes on the beach. Seriously, I'm surprised that a lot of them don't walk around with like thong bikinis and high heels, and they don't. Some of them walk around with nice sandals and, like I said, riding pants, like riding shorts, and mostly tights. And now in the nighttime, they will go to places like the casino and Dominican hangouts. On Pedro Clasante, that is the main road where the tourists usually go to hang out and have fun, whether it's in the day, afternoon, evening. There's a lot of foreigner bars owned by Canadians, owned by Americans, Germans, Italians, different things like that, Russians. And for the most part, you won't really see a large amount of prostitutes in those establishments. You will notice that the prostitutes, they more or less hang out in places like sports bars that are out of the way of Pedro Clasante. And they will frequent places like I said, the casino and stuff of that nature, where there's a larger portion of Dominicans themselves. And the tourists that enjoy the prostitutes, they will go to those locations. Now, I have never ever had a problem with the prostitutes myself. I live in Los Charamicos, which is a neighborhood of locals, Dominicans, and a lot of the ladies that work in El Bate, Sosua, the main tourist area of Sosua, they live here in Los Charamicos, and I often see their families, their husbands, their moms, their dads, children, stuff of that nature. And I meet them, and for me, they're just easygoing individuals. When I see them in El Bate when they're working, we just smile, say hi, and keep it moving. And I don't judge them because it's their way of making their money. And I don't judge anyone. I don't judge anyone if they're not hurting anyone else. Now, have I ever had an issue with being with a man and a woman walk up to us? Never, never. One time I was sitting on the beach with a whole bunch of my guy friends, and a woman walked up to one of the guys. But that's because he signaled to her, kind of, winked his eye and gave her a look as if to say he was interested. And so she walked over to the table and she politely said, "Excuse me." And, she looked at him and he's like, "Hey." And she's like, "Hi." And then she said, "Do you want my phone number?" And he was like, "Okay." And so she said, "Give me your phone." And she took his phone, she put her phone number in, and she walked away. And within minutes, I would have to say seconds, she wasn't even to the next restaurant yet. Along the beach, there's a whole bunch of restaurants. And so she wasn't even hardly to the next restaurant yet. And his phone went beep, beep. And he picked it up and he was like, "Wow." And I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And he's like, "That girl that just walked by? Look what she sent me." And she sent him a whole bunch of photos of herself. But they weren't nudes and they weren't provocative. They were just her standing there pretty, she wasn't even in lingerie. And I was like, "Huh, those are pretty photos." And he's like, "Yeah, man, she's sexy." And I'm thinking to myself, this is not even soft porn. I was like, "Wow, okay, this is interesting," and I thought it was sweet. And so, I don't encourage men to come down here for that reason, and I don't encourage the women, and I don't necessarily support it, but I also don't knock it either. I do believe in freedom. And I do believe that if a woman wants to make money on her body and that's what she wants to do and she feels comfortable doing it, she names her own prices, then she shouldn't be condemned for it. Just my thing. I mean, I like using my mind to make money, and hey, I know a lot of girls in Canada and America that have fans only pages, and they are revealing quite a lot more. Well, the prostitutes here that walk along the beach, I honestly feel that they respect themselves. Their hair looks done all the time. Their nails are always painted so pretty and, like really pretty. They take a lot of time taking care of themselves. Their eyelashes are always primmed and proper, and their clothing, I said, it's not like they're wearing bathing suits. And if they were wearing bathing suits along the beach, that would still make sense because it is a beach. And if they're wearing a thong, hey, I know a lot of women that are moms that are coming to the beach for the day with their children, and they're wearing very provocative bikinis. So the prostitutes, they also, they always have their faces dolled up, some lipstick on, and they smell so pretty. Their skin is always creamed. They take really good care of themselves. Not all of them have banging bodies, but most of them, for the most part, do have sexy figures, and they are very confident women. They walk up and down the beach during the day, and I think overall it's what they do. Now, I do want to say this. There is some pimping out there, and a lot of you men will be approached by other men, and you got to be careful because those men are pimping out the girls and they're making some type of a profit, and they're most likely being watched. So be careful when guys approach you and they start offering you women. I'm not saying anything about the guys. They're making their money too. At the end of the day, they are not like the pimps from back in the day in Canada, putting the women on the street and beating them. It's not like that, because the women here are very independent. The ones that are on the street, they're probably not it's probably not their best occupation that they want to be in, but it is a quick way to feed themselves and feed their families. And, you know, a lot of the times you don't need a guy bringing you women. You can just walk along the beach. This is not giving you a guide to prostitution, but this is just telling you keep yourself out of trouble by getting your own selection, so to speak. The women are very open. They'll look at you on the beach and they'll give you a look as they're walking by. And if you give them a look back, they'll stop. Most of them are with another girl or a few girls, and they'll walk over to you and they'll approach you and they will talk to you. Now, sometimes they're aggressive. And if you are a guy that's just not into it and you're just like, no, it's just not my flex, and it actually terrifies you or makes you feel insecure, whether you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter. You're just not into it, you can politely say to the ladies, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. And that's all. Some of them are a little bit more aggressive, where they may try to say, oh, come on, baby, come on, daddy. Like, I'm good. I'll do this, I'll do that. And, no, thank you, I'm not interested, is all you have to say. I have a friend here. He lives here in Los Charamicos, and he's an American. And he said to me that the other day a woman politely walked over to him and offered him to go down on him. She said, I'll give you a good deal if you'd like me to go down on you. And he said, no, thank you. She said, okay, do you have 100 pesos? And he was like, no. And she said, okay, 100 pesos is $2. And he said, no. And she said, okay, thank you. And she walked away. She didn't just ask him for money. She offered to, work with him on something. And so he was like, no, thank you. And she was like, okay. And that was it. So it is very common that way, where they will approach you and you don't have to do much work getting one. It's not like you have to open up an app. You don't need to do much except sit on the beach. Now, of course, there are apps, and you would have to talk to the guys about that here. But overall, it's not a lot of work getting yourself someone. So be careful of the guys that offer you the girls. You don't want to get set up too much. Now, I just want to really reiterate, when it comes to the women, the wives, if you have yourself a good man that's just not trying to cheat on you, you won't have to worry at all. Now, I can't say that the women won't approach him when you're not around. It's just that when you're with your husband and you're walking down the street, the ladies are usually very respectful. For the most part, I see it all the time. I see husbands and wives walking down the street and no problems with the prostitutes. Now, if the prostitute knows that the guy's married, because the guy lives here and he's not with his wife, I'm pretty sure she'll be like, hi, and, try to entice him. But if your husband's not easy to entice, then he will say hi back to her and keep it moving. Prostitutes know who their clients are. They are aware of who wants them and who doesn't. So you do have to be very clear, though. If you are not interested and they are approaching you, you do have to be very clear with each and every one of them. Not rude and not aggressive, but just, no, thank you. Very clear, and that's it. And concise. Don't sit and chat with them and, ask them all kinds of questions about themselves and everything, because then you're wasting their time as well. I've heard before from a prostitute, she said to me, Cerise, there's a couple of guys that they're not interested in it, but they definitely love to ask questions about it, and they're wasting my time. They should still pay me for the questions they're asking, because prostitutes will answer your questions. But if they're on the stroll and they're looking for their dollar and you just want to talk because you just want to talk to a woman, then, give her a couple of bucks for her time. You don't need to just buy her a drink, Sorry about the noise in the background, guys. If you can hear that, that's my neighbor. But I just wanted to really share this article with you and this information as well, because, again, a lot of you ask me all the time about the prostitutes. It's not really as in your face as what you would think. That's what I feel anyway, because I'm not looking at other people on the street and focusing on them. I have my place where I'm going and what I'm doing. And, when I'm along the beach, I see the ladies. When I'm on the roads, I see the ladies. But again, I'm not looking out for that. I'm not trying to analyze other people and where they're going and what they're doing. Do I see men? I see men as well. I see everyone, children, dogs, cats. Everyone is on the streets. If you look for something, you're going to find it. That's just clear. But again, if you're a woman, a mother, and you just are insecure about having that around your man and your family, you don't have to worry about it. They're not going to roll up on your man on the beach and open up their legs and do all kinds of inappropriate things in front of your children. Many of them don't even go in the water. They just walk along the beach, and there's no really one spot for them on the beach where they are doing inappropriate acts. They are, if a group of guys are at a table and a group of prostitutes walk up to them, they sit down and they have some drinks and they laugh, they listen to music, and that's it. If a man decides to take her home, he gives her his price and he goes with her. Whether he goes to a cabana or whether he goes to his Airbnb, doesn't matter where, or a hotel if he rents one. What really goes on is business, and that is all you really have to know. You don't have to be scared, insecure, or judgmental. These are ladies, they're making money, and it's not illegal for them to do that. But it is illegal for pimping to go on. So again, just be careful who approaches you, and you'll be pretty good. A lot of guys, they think if they get set up, if someone comes up to them and approaches them and says, hey, I got a girl for you, then they feel safer that way, because they feel like, the guy that's coming up to them is offering them a good girl. But that's not always so. Not at all. I mean, you can meet some really good women on the beach. And I know a lot of women that were prostitutes and became wonderful wives. There's an old saying back in the day, it says you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And yes, you can. I have seen it over and over here again. So that's just a myth. And a lot of the prostitutes, they have business ideas. Men come here from all around the world, and they take the women off the streets and they turn her into a wonderful wife. And that's always a nice ending. So guys, again, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can hit me up. If you would like to do a relocation consultation because you're thinking about coming here to the Dominican Republic to either work online or retire, let me know. I can help you out. I provide airport pickup and drop off, and I also do sometimes some food restaurant reviews and some fun things. So take a chance on me and subscribe. And if you have any video ideas, give me a shout. Alrighty, take care, everyone. Huge hugs, loads of love, big blesses, and make some good plans in 2022 to enjoy what you couldn't enjoy the last few years. Take care, everyone. Blesses.